Hello everyone. In this lesson we will actually go through and use our new pageBanner function in all of our templates. Without further ado, let's jump into the action. So right away, let's jump into our text editor, and in our theme folder, let's just go through each one of our template files one by one and remove any of the duplicate pageBanner code and instead replace it with our new function. So let's just start up at the top. The first file is archive event. Here we see the pageBanner div. So right above that, within this PHP block, let's drop down to a new line and call our new pageBanner function. And this template file controls an archive screen. So instead of pulling in a title and subtitle from a post from the database, we just want to use these custom text values. So within our pageBanner function call, let's provide it an array of arguments. Okay, let's drop down to a new line to stay organized. Let's say that title should equal, and here we have it set to all events. So all events. And then let's also target subtitle and say that should equal see what is going on in our world. So you can just copy and paste that instead of typing it. Okay, this looks good. So now we can literally just delete this entire pageBanner div. Okay, let's give that a save, and then let's go test out that page on the front end. So that was the events archive screen. Still looks good. Let's move on to the next file in our text editor. So the next template is archive-program, and let's just do the same thing. So right before the pageBanner div in the PHP block, let's call pageBanner. This template is using custom text for the title and subtitle. So let's provide our function an array. Let's say that title should equal all programs. And let's say that subtitle should equal. And then down here we can just copy and paste this instead of typing it out again. So copy, paste. Okay, and then we can just go ahead and delete this div. Save it. Let's go test it out. So that was the all programs archive. Still looks good. Let's move on to the next template file. So the next template is archive.php. Right above pageBanner, let's call a PHP function, pageBanner. Let's pass it an array of arguments. Let's say that title should equal, and this screen is a little bit different. Instead of just custom static type text, we are running a function named the archive title. So to refresh your memory, let me show you an example of this function in action on the front end of our website. If we click over to the blog section up in the header, and then within one of the beige metadata boxes, if we click on the bold author name, this screen is powered by archive.php. And this title of author:_Brad is being dynamically generated by this function, right? Or if we click on to the awards category archive, we see category:_awards. So this function is responsible for dynamically stirring up that name. So our first instinct might be to just copy and paste this function up here. But remember that when a function begins with the word the, it handles the echoing or outputting for you. And in this case, up in our array, we don't want to echo or output anything. We just want to return a value. So long story short, instead of the archive title, let's set our title to equal the results of a function named get the archive title. Remember that 9 times out of 10 in WordPress, if you just want to return a value, you can just begin the same function name with get. So title equals get the archive title. Let's not forget about the subtitle, so comma, and then let's say subtitle should equal. And instead of the archive description, let's say get the archive description. Okay, now with our pageBanner function call complete, we can go ahead and delete this pageBanner div. Let's save that and check out the front end, and it still works perfectly. If I go back to an author archive screen, still looks good. Let's move on to the next template file. So we just finished archive. We don't need to adjust footer or front page or functions or header So the next file that we want to edit is index.php. This file controls the home of our blog section. We see a title of Welcome to our blog and a subtitle of Keep up with our latest news. So right above this div, up in the PHP block, let's just call pageBanner. Let's pass it an array of arguments. Title should equal Welcome to our blog. Let's just copy and paste that. Comma. Then we'll say subtitle equals, and let's copy and paste this text. Okay, now we can go ahead and delete the actual div. Save that. Let's go visit our blog homepage. Still looks good. Let's move on to the next template file. Actually, before we move on, why don't we copy and paste this function call into our clipboard so we don't have to type as much. Okay, so the next file that we want to update is page past events. We can see it's using a custom title and subtitle. So right above it, let's just paste in our clipboard in this block of PHP. And let's change the title to past events. And let's change the subtitle to a recap of our past events. Then we can delete this div. Save that. Let's go test it out on the front end. So events, and then down here, check out our past events archive. Still looks good. Let's move on to the next template file. We already took care of page PHP in our previous lesson. Screenshot PNG doesn't apply here. So next, let's jump into single event PHP. And what's nice here is that this screen doesn't need any custom text. It can just use the intelligent defaults that our function will work with. So right above this in the PHP block, let's call pageBanner. We don't need to give it any arguments. And then we can delete this div. Let's save that and test it out on the front end. So that was a single event. So if I click on to New Year 2016, looks good. And just to prove to ourselves that our function is working properly, why don't we go back to the events home, and I'm going to edit Poetry Day. So click on Poetry Day, and I'm going to edit this post to give it a custom background image as well as a subtitle value. So we can just use this edit event up here in the top menu. For the subtitle down here, let's just say the greatest day of the year. And for the background image, let me upload a file. I have a photo of a notebook that I think makes sense for Poetry Day. Let's click Select Image down here. And then let's go ahead and update this post. Let's use the permalink here to jump back to the front end. And perfect. Here we see the subtitle, and in the background we have that notebook photo. So we can rest assured that our function is doing its job no matter where we call it from. Let's move on to the next template file, which is single professor. Looks like we already set that up in the previous lesson. So let's jump into single program. And this screen doesn't need any custom title or subtitle, so we can literally just call our pageBanner function. No arguments needed, and then delete this div. Save it. Let's give it a quick test. Programs. Click onto a single program like biology. Perfect. And on to the next and final template file, which is single.php. Right? This controls individual blog posts. So blog posts don't need anything special. So we can just call our pageBanner function without any arguments and delete that div. Give it a save. Let's go test it out. Blog. Click on our first blog post, and it works. And that's going to bring this lesson to a close. In our next lesson, I want to show you another tool that can greatly reduce duplicate code in our project. We're going to learn about a function named getTemplatePart, and it has the potential to make our code so much cleaner. So that's the plan for the next lesson, but looking ahead beyond that, I want to keep you hyped so you can keep steamrolling through the entire course. So just a sneak peek, after our next lesson, we are going to create a new post type for campuses. Campuses should be a lot of fun. We are going to use custom fields in order to create a pin on a Google map for each of our campuses. So that way visitors of our site will be presented with an interactive map that they can pinch, zoom, and scroll around and see pins of all of our campus locations. And to get you really hyped, even beyond campuses, we've still got live search results powered by Ajax and the new REST API, right? We've got the JavaScript aspect to cover still. And after that, we're going to learn about user roles, user permissions. Long story short, we've still got a ton of good stuff to cover, and I want you to stay excited. I'll admit that not all of the sections in the course so far have been riveting or completely exciting. But at this point in the course, you and I now speak the same language. We've laid out a rock-solid foundation of working with the basic components of WordPress development, and now from here we can really start speeding up and working on the fun features. Anyways, let's keep it rolling, and I will see you in the next lesson.